So hello everybody. As you have heard, our presentation is split. So I'm sharing my presentation with one of our customers, Radovan Polanski from Technology Centrum Pisek. What I will give you is a little bit of an overview of what Juniper is building, why we are building it, and what it means to you as a customer and as well as to the partners. Certainly, as you saw from the last presentation, it's all about SDN, the software-defined networking and the virtualization in networking. So no surprise that we are also developing in this area, that we are also concerned about these topics, and that today's presentation is also mainly covering the software-defined and virtualization part of the network. Apart from, let's say, VMware and similar vendors, we are not only looking at the data center part, but we are also looking at the networking part. So we are not only talking about SDN, we're also talking about NFV, which is the network function virtualization, because the network does not only consist of applications in the data center itself, the networks are connected. So whatever you're looking at in terms of clouds, if it's a hybrid cloud or public cloud or whatever cloud you're thinking of, those clouds are being connected around the world. Data centers are being deployed on each and every continent. And those data centers need to be interconnected. And that's not only the data center itself and the functionality that is being built by software-defined networking solutions inside the data centers, but how to connect them together. And this is what I will be talking about today. And Radovan will give you an insight on how they are using it. So let's say, start with a very simple question that we always have to ask ourselves if we do a presentation, if we do an event, then certainly we have to give a thought to what would be beneficial for you. Because I can give you a lot of slides, I can give you death by PowerPoint, but there's no value for you if I don't think about what could be, let's say, remarkable for you today when you're leaving the room. So the very simple answer to this one is that customers first. So for you, it might be interesting, so somehow interesting if I give you a vendor presentation, a lot of Juniper slides, but I thought it's much more beneficial for you if you see how our customers are using the equipment and the solutions that we are developing. This should be the biggest benefit because this is a learning that you can take for your own network and for the solutions that you'll be building in the future. So that's why I'm sharing today the presentation with one of our, let's say, most important customers, and I think the biggest cloud provider in Czech at the moment. And I will give more time to him than I will leave for myself because we thought it's much more beneficial for you to hear him talk and describe what they are working on. So about Juniper, I think the most important part on this slide is certainly the innovation. So the innovation is what drives us, no surprise. It's, let's say, the cultural DNA of Juniper. So if you're planning to join Juniper, if you are working in Juniper, the cultural check on your hiring discussion with the HR manager is to see if you are driven by innovation, if you have, let's say, the DNA to go the next step. And the interesting thing about this is not that, let's say, we are all trying to do the next step in terms of innovation. The interesting thing is that this kind of innovation DNA is also reflecting on our customers. So if I look at Technology Centrum Pisek, and if I look at the whole team and how they are working, how they are driving technology and solutions forward, this is impressive because they have built, let's say, the OpenStack community in Czech. They have also built the community around Contrail, not only in Czech, but all over the world. They are communicating with guys from the US and from Asia and I don't know where, working on solutions and driving the innovation a step further. So it's not only us as the vendor who is driving the innovation, but it's certainly the customer. This is the important part because actually the customer drives the innovation, it's not us. We can develop a lot of things and we can write a lot of software, but in the end it comes back to the innovation and the demand that you as a customer are having. And that's how we are driven by, and that's why also TC Pisek is actually driving us to go make a next step and to drive our innovation and our development further. What we are driven by and what customers are actually looking at today and the challenges that we are all seeing, not only as customers but also as end users, is certainly the cloud, it's certainly video, it's certainly security. Those are the topics, and big data on top. Those are the topics that are driving the IT area and the IT development nowadays. And this is what all the vendors certainly are concerned about and where we have to find solutions and where we constantly have to make the next step. And that's why also Juniper, as I said, we're driven by our customers themselves, and they also have the DNA of evolving and the DNA of innovation. What we have actually introduced last year when our new CEO came on board is the co-creation of solutions. I'm not saying that in the past we did not do that, or before he joined us, we did not co-create with our customers, but he said that our first priority must be to to co-create with our customers the solutions, which means that much more people and much more time from Juniper's perspective of pre-sales and R&D is going on the customer side, discussing with them where they want to make the next step and what's actually the priority for them. And then they are going back and developing the solution. So this is, let's say, priority number one now in our company since the last 12 months when our new CEO came on board, to drive the innovation. And that's why also we have built a program, or let's say we have built a marketing story around the following two areas, where one is called the cloud builders and the second one is called the high IQ networks. And why have we done this? Very simply, because we have two kinds of customers. We have SP customers, service provider customers, as well as we have data center customers. So on the one hand, the cloud builders are the ones who are building the data center to deliver the cloud solutions to you, to offer hybrid clouds or public clouds or private clouds, whatever. And the second part, the high IQ networks, are actually the service providers of the world who are interconnected globally and who have to adapt the network to the demands of the different countries, different societies, different happenings, be it the Olympic Games or be it any other big event where a lot of data is being interconnected. Those wide area networks have to be adaptable to those kinds of events and to those kinds of demands. And that's why we are focusing on those two areas mainly. And as I said in the beginning, a lot of, let's say, thinking on the vendor side is going towards the data center. Those are the cloud builders, how to move applications around, how to make them redundant, how to deploy them in different data centers, but how to connect the networks themselves, the data centers, even between different kinds of different service providers. This is also a big challenge, because you have to rewrite routing tables and you have to rewrite dynamic things inside the network. You have to adapt quality of service measurement. You have to adapt security policies. But how do you do that as a service provider, if not manually? And this, let's say, one of the answers to this actually question is the network function virtualization, and not only SDN. SDN is a part of it, but network function virtualization is the second part to actually drive the high IQ networks and to rearrange them and reconfigure them. So if you look let's say, a little bit deeper in what the cloud builder means, then you will certainly see that you're familiar with the massive scale and the 5 nines availability that you're needing. That's not new to you. This is what everybody is looking at. So no surprise here. Basically, the multi-tenancy is one of the most important things, especially for cloud providers, because as you have the newspapers full of security issues every day, you know that you have to separate customers inside your cloud data center strictly. So not one customer can connect to the other customer, even though they're on the same physical server, they're on the same physical database. So this is where a lot of the thinking also from Juniper perspective certainly goes, in the virtual security part, where you can separate customers very strictly and without any chance to, let's say, cross-communicate between different virtualization areas or parts. And the second part, the high IQ network, as I said, it's not about only the core routing, the edge routing, but certainly this is the majority of the part of the high IQ networking that we're thinking about. So our, for example, MX routers, they are completely virtualizable. So you can use them in the core, you can use them in the edge. In the future, you can completely separate them on virtual level to be different kinds of edge routers on the same physical box. So this is where we are, let's say, taking the networking part to the next level. And in the end, how it all looks like and how it fits together is that on the right side, you have the cloud data centers, the classical ones, the Amazons and the Googles and the biggest data centers around the world. And they are public clouds, they are private clouds, or at least hybrid clouds. Those are, let's say, our customers. So Google Data Center, for example, is one of the biggest customers of Juniper, as well as part of the Amazon Data Center is, not only on the networking part, but also on the security part. And on top of that, we have customers like TCP, who are caring about data center locally here in Czech, not only, but mainly customers in Czech. And in the middle, we have the high IQ networks of all our service providers, the AT&Ts, the Verizons, the T-Systems, and T-Mobiles of the world. So they are also our customers. And the one customers, the cloud builders, and the service providers, they have to work together. And that's, let's say, last slide of my presentation. The Juniper ecosystem, it hasn't changed. This is all the same for the last 15 years since the company was built. So we have our own silicons, our own software, our own systems, and on top of that, we have the focus very clearly on routing, switching, and security. And that makes up to the marketing, let's say, buzzwords of cloud builders and high IQ networks. This is where we're driving it, and on top of it, certainly, someone needs to manage it. But now it's, let's say, stage is ready for Radovan to give you the insight on how they are using our technology and how you as a customer can also use it for your purpose. So Radovan, stage is yours. Thank you for now.